And Jeffrey Epstein ended up getting the sweetest of sweetheart deals ever on the plea bargain front. He was free from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. to do whatever he wanted and continuing to perpetrate his crimes and run his conspiracy, and then he would come and he would watch TV and spend the night in jail. And it was over in about a year after the rape and sexual abuse of hundreds and hundreds of girls, and he kept going and he kept at it. We want the whole truth to come out. This is the United States of America. Even the British monarchy wouldn't put up with this. How about the American democracy? How about we say, no way, we're not going to allow this cover-up to go on for one day more. And I'm glad the president changed his mind after pulling out all the stops to try to get one of our Republican colleagues to change their mind, to remove their name from the discharge petition. He gave up. And I want to salute the gentlelady from Colorado from having the courage to stand her ground in the Situation Room in the White House and say, no, she wasn't going to be bullied. No. So I'm glad the president changed his mind. But let's be clear, Mr. President, you've got the power today to release the entire file. That's what you called for. That's what Pam Bondi called for. That's what Kash Patel called for. So we don't need anybody calling for the Senate to slow things down for more weeks and more months. The American people have had it. We'll reserve.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman is reminded to direct your comments to the chair and not your colleagues. The gentleman from Ohio is recognized, and you do have 90 seconds remaining. Correction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield 30 seconds to the gentleman from Texas.
Gentleman from Texas is recognized.
The Democrat Party, with help from the dishonest media, used the Epstein files not to seek justice from the victims, but to smear President Trump. And it's sickening, quite sickening. The Democrats have used the Epstein files to distract the American people from the wins President Trump and his administration have delivered for the American people for the last 11 months. I'm proud to work with my Republican colleagues on the House Oversight Committee in coordination with the Justice Department. 65,000 pages of documents are related from Epstein released. What have my Democrat colleagues done? They selectively leaked and altered documents to mislead the American people. As President Trump has stated, we have nothing to hide here. I'm voting to release the files so that we can move on from this smear campaign the Democrats have manufactured. God bless
Gentleman's
Donald J.
time has
Trump.
expired. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. Gentleman from Ohio reserves. Gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
All right. How much time do I have to close?
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I want to thank all of America for tuning in to this. I want to thank Representatives Massey and Khanna, Representative Green, all of those who have insisted upon bringing the truth forward and a reckoning with the reality of one of the worst international child sex trafficking rings ever to exist in the United States and the cover-up attendant to it. We've got the opportunity today to do justice for the victims, for the survivors who have come forward to say that the voice of the victims and the survivors must be put at the very center of our deliberations. Not shunted off to the side, not submerged, not subordinated, but put at the very center. We must hear from the people who themselves were victimized by this nightmare. Now, our colleagues across the aisle seem to want to make this into some sort of partisan contest. I haven't heard so much talk about the Democrats since the Democratic National Convention. And all that we've done here is to say we want to bring the truth forward along with a bipartisan group. We don't want the Senate monkeying around with this in order to slow things down. We want it passed in the Senate. We want it signed. And before that, if the president is true to his word and he wants to see all of this come to light, he can release it now instead of fighting, kicking, and screaming every step along the way. But I'm glad he's changed his mind, and I hope he maintains the momentum he's got to stick with the vast majority of the American people who want to see that the truth is done here. And while he's at it, the administration could reconsider their terrible policies gutting federal offices and programs designed to combat violence against women. The DOJ terminated hundreds of grants to police departments, defunding the police when it comes to investigating violent sex crimes. and to support victims. His Doge destroyed programs to combat international human trafficking rings. Let's get back on the side of the women. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Ohio.
Thank
is
you, Mr.
recognized.
Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Speaker Johnson said it right. Why now after 4 years of doing nothing? Because going after President Trump is an obsession with these guys. Best example is John Brennan testified in front of our committee under oath, said he was not involved with the dossier. Only problem is Tulsi Gabbard declassified a report, released that report, and it said exactly the opposite. And she related a story in there where a CIA official went up to Mr. Brennan and said, we shouldn't include this in the report. And John Brennan's response was, yeah, but doesn't it ring true? Forget the facts, forget the truth, go after Trump, put it in. Same dynamic at work here. We're all for protecting innocent victims. We're all for exposing the bad guys who did bad things. But this is an obsession with the left. For 10 years, it's going after President Trump. So vote yes. Make sure the bad guys are held accountable. We all want to do that. Speaker Johnson's right. I think it's going to be unanimous. But understand what they're doing, because they had 4 years and didn't do a darn thing. With that, I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. The question is, will the House suspend the rules and pass the bill H.R. 4405? Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. In the opinion of the chair, two-thirds being in the affirmative, the rules are suspended. The bill is passed, and without
Can I request a
objection,
recorded vote, Mr. Speaker?
the gentleman from Maryland is recognized.
Yeah, I'm requesting a recorded vote.
The gentleman from Maryland has requested a recorded vote. Those favoring a recorded vote will rise. A sufficient number having risen, a recorded vote is ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. Pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20, this 15-minute vote on the motion to suspend the rules will be followed by 5-minute votes on ordering the previous question on House Resolution 879, adoption of House Resolution 879 if ordered, and adoption of House Resolution 878. This is a 15-minute vote.
Esta es una votación de 15 minutos.
On this vote, the yeas are
En esta votación,
427, the nays are
427 a
1.
favor, 1 en
Two-thirds being
contra,
in the affirmative, the
dos
rules are
tercios de
suspended,
votos
the
afirmativos se
bill is
suspenden las
passed,
reglas,
and without
la
objection, the
legislación
motion
es
to
aprobada
reconsider is
y
laid
la
on the
moción
table.
de reconsideración está en la mesa.
Pursuant to Clause 8, Rule 20, the unfinished business is the
De
vote
acuerdo
on
con las
ordering the
reglas de la
previous
Cámara,
question on House Resolution 879, on which the yeas and
la
nays are
pregunta es sobre
ordered.
la
The
resolución
clerk will
previa.
report the title of the resolution.
Se
House Calendar Number 47, House Resolution
procederá con el
879.
calendario.
Resolution
Resolución
providing for consideration of the
879,
joint resolution, Senate Joint
consideración de la
Resolution
resolución
80,
conjunta,
providing for congressional
resolución 80
disapproval
del
under
Senado,
Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States
bajo el
Code
título
of
5
the
del
rules
Código de
submitted
los
by the
Estados
Bureau
Unidos,
of Land Management relating to National Petroleum Reserve in Alaska,
pertinentes
Integrated
a las
Activity
reservas
Plan Record
petroleras
of
en
Decision,
Alaska,
providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 130, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Buffalo Field Office Record of Decision and approved Resource Management Plan Amendment, providing for consideration of the joint resolution, House Joint Resolution 131, providing for congressional disapproval under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code of the rules submitted by the Bureau of Land Management relating to Coastal Plain Oil and Gas Leasing Program Record of Decision, providing for consideration of the concurrent resolution, House Concurrent Resolution 58, denouncing the horrors of socialism, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 1949, to repeal restrictions on the export of import of natural gas, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 3109, to require the Secretary of Energy to direct the National Petroleum Council to issue a report with respect to the petrochemical refineries in the United States and for other purposes, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5107, to repeal the Comprehensive Policing and Justice Reform Amendment Act of 2022, enacted by the District of Columbia Council, providing for consideration of the bill, H.R. 5214, to require mandatory pretrial and post-conviction detention for crimes of violence and dangerous crimes and require mandatory cash bail for certain offenses that pose a threat to the public safety or order in the District of Columbia, and for other purposes,
The question is on ordering the previous question. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.